Okay, buckle up, because Meghan Markle's latest comeback move has set the gossip wires and royal watchers ablaze. Apparently, she's decided to stage her big personal rebrand in Paris. Yes, Paris, the very city where Princess Diana died in that horrific car crash nearly 3 decades ago. And the reaction from friends, insiders, and commentators? Equal parts disbelief, concern, and major side-eye. Let's unpack this whole situation and why it's got everyone from tabloids to fashion editors talking, and why it might be another chapter in Meghan's never-ending story of me, myself, and the Markle brand. According to friends of the Sussexes, and by friends, we mean those anonymous insiders who keep ending up in the Daily Mail, Meghan's Paris appearance has people genuinely worried, not just about optics, but about Harry's mental health. See, Harry has always drawn a hard line when it comes to Paris. He's repeatedly refused invitations to go there over the years because it's where his mother, Princess Diana, died in 1997. He's said to have told people point blank, "I will not go to Paris." And even Meghan reportedly used to echo that, saying things like, "I can't go to Paris because of HS Mom."
Say Meghan's decision to stage her latest relaunch in Paris has raised serious concerns, like, has she lost her mind concerns? The French capital, they note, is far from a neutral setting for Prince Harry. It's a literal crime scene. According to one insider, those close to the couple are so astonished by the move, pointing out that both Harry and Meghan have repeatedly declined invitations to attend Paris events in recent years. The reason has always been the same: the city's heartbreaking connection to the death of Harry's mother, Diana, Princess of Wales. A source told the Daily Mail there was always a firm line from him, a complete blanket no. Harry made it very clear he wouldn't go to Paris because of his mother. The same insider added Meghan would explain when asked, "I cannot go to Paris because of H's mom." Well, that didn't last long. One of Harry's friends reportedly remarked, "She's driving around in that city where his mother died. She knows exactly what she's doing." Those close to the prince believe that the trip underscores Meghan's need for attention and have expressed concern about the state of the couple's relationship, saying, "Harry must have been sick from trauma and worry. I simply cannot understand it." Another added, "They want different things, and there are times when it is really not great. I mean, really not great at all."
So imagine the whiplash when she suddenly turns up there, not for a royal memorial, not for charity, but for Fashion Week. Driving around the city, cameras flashing, doing photo ops, all in the same place that triggers her husband's deepest trauma. One of Harry's friends even said, "She knows exactly what she's doing," implying this wasn't a clueless mistake but a deliberate move for attention. For those close to Harry, it's baffling. "He must have been sick from trauma and worry," one said. Another added, "They want different things, and sometimes, it's really not great." Translation: things between Harry and Meghan might not be peachy behind the scenes. Now here's where it gets messier. Balenciaga's new creative director spilled to the cut that Meghan basically invited herself to the Paris show. He said she reached out to him, saying she'd love to come. He described it as this spontaneous, organic thing, no big orchestration, no PR stunt. But let's be real. That's not how the fashion world works. When you're a global celebrity who's made headlines for being silenced and relaunching her brand, you don't just accidentally show up at a high-profile Paris event. This wasn't Meghan stumbling into a fashion show. This was a calculated attempt to reposition herself in a new industry, fashion. And that's where the criticisms start to snowball. The Daily Beast pointed out that while Meghan seems to think she's close friends with the designer, he basically describes her as someone he's texted with a bunch. Ouch. So much for being besties in haute couture circles. Remember Meghan's Netflix lifestyle series, where she showed off her perfect kitchen, organic cooking skills, and close friendships? Yeah, one particular scene has been haunting her credibility ever since. In it, she spends hundreds of dollars on books and whips up a fancy fruit platter for a supposed friend, who, when he arrives, greets her like they've just met. The two awkwardly mumble, "So nice to meet you," and the internet collectively cringed. It made her look fake, like she was staging relationships for the camera rather than showcasing real friendships. Tom Sykes, a royal commentator, called her out. He said her habit of exaggerating friendships was bound to trip her up one day. And now, here we are. Meghan spinning the Paris trip as some glamorous reunion while the designer himself is subtly reminding everyone that they're not actually that close.
Adding to the tension, Balenciaga's new creative director revealed to The Cut magazine that Meghan invited herself to his Paris fashion show, despite Harry's long-held aversion to the city, explaining, Meghan and I met some years ago, and we've been texting ever since. She reached out and said she'd love to come to the show. There was no strategy or big orchestration. I didn't tell anyone she was coming because I wanted it to stay a surprise. In fashion, real surprises are rare, and this was beautiful. Yes, a beautiful betrayal. The Daily Beast notes how Balenciaga's new guy's comments seem to distance the brand from the JM salesperson, saying Meghan sees herself as a great friend and collaborator of the legendary designer. He sees her as someone he has texted with a bunch. Other article highlights include this paragraph. Of course, Meghan, it has been observed before, has unusual ideas about what constitutes a friend. In her Netflix cooking show, she was shown buying several hundreds of dollars worth of books in a bookstore for a child of a mystery new friend who turned out to be Queer Eye's Tan France. She then prepared an elaborate fruit platter to greet him, but the gestures played not as generous, but as staged when, upon arrival, the friends greeted each other with a mutual, slightly shamefaced mumbling of, "So nice to meet you." The credibility of the show's central premise that Meghan is a cool person with loads of friends whom she loves entertaining collapsed under the weight of that ridiculous moment. Two people who'd never met playing lifelong confidants for the sake of 40 minutes of television. Tom Sykes, you are preaching to the choir, okay? He added, I have long felt that Meghan's tendency to massively exaggerate the depth of her relationship with various dear friends was a liability that was going to trip her up one day. And now, here it is.
Meanwhile, reports claim that Prince Harry is upset over how people are using Diana's death as a stick to beat Meghan with. The Daily Mail ran a piece saying Harry was hurt and upset by the criticism. But honestly, isn't Harry always upset about something? That's become part of the couple's brand at this point, grievance and defensiveness. The problem is, in this case, people have a point. Paris is sacred ground for him. For Meghan to turn it into a photo shoot backdrop, it's tone-deaf at best, exploitative at worst. Commentators didn't hold back. One quipped, no one is beating Meghan with any sticks, unless you count the one she's using to poke the world's collective patience. Harsh. But that's the tone that's dominated coverage of this latest stunt. And honestly, it's a reminder that Meghan's constant attempt to compare herself to Diana, consciously or subconsciously, always backfires. Trying to channel her late mother-in-law's aura while standing near the very tunnel where she died? It's a move so bizarre it almost feels scripted. Now, if all this were just about bad optics, fine. But there's another layer, Meghan's constant reinvention. First, she was the Hollywood actress. Then, the humanitarian duchess. Then, the mental health podcast host. Then came the jam queen of American Riviera Orchard, her luxury lifestyle brand that launched with high-end preserves and homeware. Except, the jam thing fizzled. Badly. Sources say the brand hasn't performed well financially, and no one really knows where it stands. One insider told the Daily Mail, nobody has seen any figures, but I don't think they're that good. So what's next? Fashion, apparently. She's reportedly attending the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit alongside Kamala Harris and Selena Gomez to discuss navigating entrepreneurship in the public eye and building a brand that will endure. The irony, of course, is that Meghan's the last person who should be lecturing anyone about brand stability. Her track record is a carousel of short-lived ventures and constant rebranding. Archetypes podcast? Gone. American Riviera Orchard? Still MIA. The Netflix lifestyle show? Awkward at best. It's like every time something doesn't instantly make her an icon, she drops it and pivots. One commentator put it best, have you ever seen someone so ready, willing, and able to quit?
Another Paris-related story was trending over the weekend that Prince Harry is reportedly upset by the criticism Meghan Markle received last week. Okay, but when is Harry not upset? Isn't that what we've come to expect from Mr. Miserable? But that wasn't the bizarre part of the article from the Daily Mail. It was this line. A friend of the couple said that Harry was left hurt and upset. Diana's death was used as a stick to beat his wife with. Again, I know I made this point 50 times last week, but Meghan's entire Netflix brand reinvention was that she makes the ordinary extraordinary because she goes the extra mile, knows little details about you. She goes above and beyond to make you feel special. Now, are we buying what she's trying to sell? Hell to the no, to the no, no, no. But this is an example of why we're not buying it. This is where Prince Harry's mother died while running around with her alleged cokehead boyfriend, allegedly. You know, you are near the tunnel. No one is beating Meghan with any sticks. And if they were, it would be due to her uploading a video on her own near the scene of an accident that stopped the entire world in its tracks. And for someone who is constantly trying to convince us that she is the second coming of Diana, she should know better. She's a 44-year-old woman trying to be an influencer. Are we witnessing a midlife crisis?
Now comes the real reason for the Paris trip. According to Daily Mail sources, Meghan's working on a glossy magazine cover, possibly Vogue. Apparently, the trip may have been necessary to fulfill media obligations, maybe for a photo shoot or interview. Perhaps the cover story is Meghan Takes Paris, one source speculated, and that kind of pretentious media hit was too tempting to overthink Harry's feelings. Savage? Yes. But probably true. Meghan's media instincts are sharp, she knows the power of optics. And Meghan Markle returns to Paris in style, would be the perfect headline to reclaim control of her narrative. The problem? It's the Kardashian playbook, optics over authenticity. Everything feels curated, scripted, manufactured. Instead of rebuilding credibility through consistent work or substance, she leans on flashy moments, fashion shows, glossy covers, big speeches. And just to make things even more meta, the Vogue connection comes with its own drama. The new American editor-in-chief, Chloe Moore, is the daughter of actress Candice Bergen. She's openly described herself as a proud Nepo baby, which makes this pairing with Meghan deliciously ironic. Think about it. Two women constantly accused of benefiting from privilege teaming up for a rebranding exercise. You couldn't script it better. Critics are already whispering that this might be a mutually beneficial PR move. Moore gets attention and distracts from her nepotism controversy, while Meghan gets fashion legitimacy and an excuse for her Paris cameo. But there's also the practical side. Vogue is struggling. Print sales have been stuck at around 1 million copies for years. It's now cutting back to 8 issues a year, ad revenues dropping, and online readership is nothing compared to TikTok influencers. So in that context, a Meghan Markle cover is a quick shot of clickbait, high visibility, instant traffic, social media buzz. As one analyst put it, this isn't strategy. It's survival. If the reports are right, Meghan's pivot to fashion is both a business move and a lifeline. After the failure of her lifestyle brand and the lukewarm reception of her jam entrepreneur persona, fashion might seem like a natural next step. Except, fashion isn't just about clothes. It's about credibility, influence, and insider relationships. And Meghan, despite her Hollywood background, hasn't quite cracked that world. She's admired by fans for her style, sure, but the fashion elite sees her as an outsider, someone who shows up late to the party and tries to run the show. It's also a risky move because fashion moves fast. Today's muse is tomorrow's meme. And Meghan's history of overexposure could work against her. If every photo shoot, podcast, or appearance becomes a mini PR circus, the mystique she's chasing, that iconic Diana energy, will always feel contrived.
Meghan was hinting over the last few years that she would be willing to enter the fashion world, to which I would say, stay in your lane. Are we Martha Stewart or sharing a humanitarian award with a dude who lost one charity this year while another is literally spiraling? The fashion pivot was potentially explained in a Daily Mail piece over the weekend that claimed, at the moment, Meghan is literally lost because the whole jam making business did not work out in the way she thought it would. The source continued, nobody has seen any figures, but I don't think they are that good. Which does not explain why Meghan is joining Kamala Harris, Selena Gomez, and more at Fortune's annual Most Powerful Women Summit on Tuesday to discuss navigating entrepreneurship in the public eye and building a brand that will endure. Like American Riviera Orchard, Archetypes. What about Confessions of a Female Founder? Rest in peace. Have you ever seen someone so ready, willing, and able to quit? Starting with the British royal family. So, what can she teach us about building a brand that will endure? Okay. So many rebrands. Your girl's got whiplash over here. Anyway, a well placed source told the Daily Mail that Meghan is currently working on a cover for a glossy magazine, possibly Vogue. Quote, an obvious explanation then would be that the Paris trip was necessary for the media commitment. Perhaps the cover story is Meghan Takes Paris, and the idea of that kind of pretentious media hit was simply too tempting for her to overthink Harry's feelings. Savage, but true. Again, this feels like a page out of the Kardashian playbook. I will scream it at the top of my lungs.
Now all of this circles back to one uncomfortable truth. Harry and Meghan seem to be living increasingly separate lives, emotionally and professionally. She's chasing reinvention after reinvention, trying to keep herself culturally relevant. He, meanwhile, seems increasingly withdrawn, caught between loyalty to his wife and lingering guilt over his mother's legacy. Those who know the couple say their goals are diverging. Meghan wants fame, recognition, and creative control. Harry wants healing and validation. It's hard to build a brand, or a marriage, on those competing needs. So when she flies off to Paris for a fashion show tied to her next big thing, it's not just about business. It's symbolic, a public reminder that Meghan's ambition often trumps sentiment that owns the real reason for the Paris trip. According to Daily Mail sources, Meghan's working on a glossy magazine cover, possibly Vogue. Apparently, the trip may have been necessary to fulfill media obligations, maybe for a photo shoot or interview. Perhaps the cover story is Meghan Takes Paris, one source speculated, and that kind of pretentious media hit was too tempting to overthink Harry's feelings. Savage? Yes. But probably true. Meghan's media instincts are sharp, she knows the power of optics. And Meghan Markle returns to Paris in style, would be the perfect headline to reclaim control of her narrative. The problem? It's the Kardashian playbook, optics over authenticity. Everything feels curated, scripted, manufactured. Instead of rebuilding credibility through consistent work or substance, she leans on flashy moments, fashion shows, glossy covers, big speeches. And just to make things even more meta, the Vogue connection comes with its own drama. The new American editor-in-chief, Chloe Moore, is the daughter of actress Candice Bergen. She's openly described herself as a proud Nepo baby, which makes this pairing with Meghan deliciously ironic. Think about it, two women constantly accused of benefiting from privilege teaming up for a rebranding exercise. You couldn't script it better. Critics are already whispering that this might be a mutually beneficial PR move. Moore gets attention and distracts from her nepotism controversy, while Meghan gets fashion legitimacy and an excuse for her Paris cameo. But there's also the practical side. Vogue is struggling. Print sales have been stuck at around 1 million copies for years. It's now cutting back to 8 issues a year, ad revenues dropping, and online readership is nothing compared to TikTok influencers. So in that context, a Meghan Markle cover is a quick shot of clickbait, high visibility, instant traffic, social media buzz. As one analyst put it, this isn't strategy. It's survival. If the reports are right, Meghan's pivot to fashion is both a business move and a lifeline. After the failure of her lifestyle brand and the lukewarm reception of her jam entrepreneur persona, fashion might seem like a natural next step. Except, fashion isn't just about clothes. It's about credibility, influence, and insider relationships. And Meghan, despite her Hollywood background, hasn't quite cracked that world. She's admired by fans for her style, sure, but the fashion elite sees her as an outsider, someone who shows up late to the party and tries to run the show. It's also a risky move because fashion moves fast. Today's muse is tomorrow's meme. And Meghan's history of overexposure could work against her. If every photo shoot, podcast, or appearance becomes a mini PR circus, the mystique she's chasing, that iconic Diana energy, will always feel contrived. At this point, Meghan's brand feels like a beautiful house built on quicksand, glossy from afar but unstable underneath. Every time she tries to reset the narrative, the cracks show, the exaggerated friendships, the clunky PR moments, the overscripted sincerity. And the irony is, she could succeed if she stopped trying so hard. People connect with authenticity, flaws, growth, humility. But Meghan's instinct is to overproduce, overpolish, oversell. The result? She ends up looking like she's constantly auditioning for approval rather than owning her space. Even supporters are starting to admit that the unsilenced Meghan message has worn thin. How many times can someone relaunch themselves before it stops meaning anything?
Called Balenciaga and asked for the tickets to the show, because she needed some cred, instant cred in the space. And because otherwise this woman's just selling jam and booze. Like, so she needed to have some sort of fashion presence and quickly to try to justify whatever it is she was pitching to Vogue. And I'm sure Vogue's going to go for it. And sure, I can see Chloe giving Meghan Markle an opportunity because it would distract from the controversy surrounding her. The controversy surrounding Chloe's 2025 hire as Vogue's head of editorial content centered on accusations of nepotism. Mal is the daughter of actress Candice Bergen. Critics viewed her appointment by Anna Wintour as another example of an entrenched Nepo baby culture in fashion and publishing. In a New York Times interview, Mal described herself as a proud Nepo baby, acknowledging that she has 100% benefited from the privilege she grew up with. If only Meghan Markle would be so transparent. And let's talk about Vogue, the so-called fashion Bible that's quietly losing its religion. Print sales flatlined around 1 million copies for years. The magazine that used to hit newsstands every month will soon publish just 8 issues a year. That doesn't sound like strategy. That sounds like survival. Condé Nast's glossy magazine sales fell nearly 20% in Europe, and ad revenue is down unless Anna Wintour personally picks up the phone and does some begging. And as you know, billions of eyeballs now scroll past fashion on TikTok instead of flipping through glossy magazines. Vogue.com pulls about 14 million monthly visitors, but that's a fraction of what influencers get on a single viral post. The brand's still famous, but fame doesn't always pay the bills. For Vogue, the future looks less like fashion authority and more like another outlet for Meghan Markle to discuss anchoring herself. Come on, guys. There's just no there. Could Meghan's lackluster lifestyle and slimy jam brand be leading her in the direction of haute couture? Or is Vogue's new Nepo baby boss just looking for a quick hit in the form of clickbait? How many times is Meghan going to be unsilenced?
In the end, this Paris saga is less about a fashion show and more about a pattern. Meghan's relentless pursuit of reinvention without introspection. Every move seems designed to provoke buzz rather than build credibility. And now, aligning with Vogue, a publication that's struggling to stay relevant in a digital world, feels symbolic. Both are once powerful brands trying to prove they still matter. Both are leaning into image over substance. Both are navigating the fallout of a changing media landscape that doesn't reward perfection anymore, it rewards realness. The tragedy is that Meghan could have written a different story. If she'd focused on substance, her humanitarian work, her advocacy, even a genuine lifestyle brand rooted in authenticity, she might have built something lasting. Instead, every new chapter feels like a reboot of a show that no one asked to renew. So where does this leave us? Meghan's Paris appearance, in the city that symbolizes both glamour and grief, might go down as one of her most tone-deaf moments yet. Not because she went to a fashion show, but because she ignored the emotional significance of where she was. If her team thought this was the perfect power move, they miscalculated. It's given critics more ammunition, strained her public image further, and, most importantly, highlighted the growing gap between her ambitions and Harry's boundaries. Paris may have been a fashion statement, but it also revealed the cracks in the Sussex brand. And unless Meghan starts rebuilding from a place of truth rather than optics, no amount of Vogue covers or jam jars will fix it. So, what do you guys think? Has Meghan completely lost the plot? Is Catherine's rise Meghan's biggest nightmare come true? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. And if you enjoyed this royal deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a drop of royal reality.